Law enforcement and security expert Paul Viollis is here to talk about these attacks. Paul, Paris and London, I just mentioned some of the numbers, but London, it's been 4 in 4 months. In Paris, it's been 5 in 4 months.
Right.
Are these unsafe places now? Why are we seeing so many?
You know what, Dana, the biggest thing that we really have to grapple with right now, and that we find ourselves grappling with, is the fact that places that we always once thought were ultimately safe are things that are now on center radar for the risk concern.
But we hear heightened security and that people are, security is increased and the presence is increased. But do these attacks sort of lead to other attacks? Is that why we've seen 4 in 4 months in London and maybe 5 in 4 months in Paris?
Yep. The most poignant question of all, and the answer is yes, unequivocally. Think of the business model that surrounds this type of criminal mind, the attention that that they receive from acts like this. When you look at, and we can draw a quick parallel from the shooter in Virginia to the individual that gets in a vehicle, uses it as a weapon of mass destruction, and goes intentionally after Muslims. People undoubtedly looking for attention and undoubtedly receiving it and targeting their own sense of retribution.
So you're talking, so the shooting against Republican Congresspeople that took place last week, and now the van plowing into a mosque full of people, this individual, I guess, taking on action on their own. How do you combat that?
Well, you know, when we take a look at this forensically, we're going to break this down and really take a look at who those individuals were, what they were saying before they did it, who heard it, and did we pay attention to it? These are things you wanted to talking about before. What becomes actionable now? What we hear and what we see? When do we actually put something in motion?
But because we were talking before we went on air here just about this idea that there's so much vitriol out there. Social media, certainly we've seen a lot of it. And people have talked about trying to tone down the rhetoric, but this is different. You're saying it's not just the rhetoric, people are going to take action. I guess what I'm saying is, how do you stop individual action? How do you even see that coming? Right,
and it's very, very difficult. We find ourselves right now, Dan, in a very precarious situation from a law enforcement and a security perspective, because what it's going to come down to is re-educating and re-engineering the cultural thinking as it pertains to security. What it means for people like you and I on this side of the pond and on the other side of the pond. What it means for us to see and to report what we consider to be unacceptable behavior. I'm not saying that these are smooth waters ahead, but we're going to have to start taking more preemptive stance with respect to what we see in here.
Do we have to give up freedoms in order to do that?
I believe we're going to have to give up some, and I do think that, and I know that, you know, our viewers don't want to hear this, but we're going to have to give up a little bit of sense of privacy too, because of the fact the internet and social media is being used as such a platform for this.
It seems like in that sense, and I know not every attack has been considered a terrorist attack in the ones that we're talking about, but it feels like that's the way the terrorists win. We say the terrorists win when we are put into a state of fear where we're not keeping our same liberties and freedoms.
Right, but now the best part about this is what we do have on our side is the emergence of certain types of technology using artificial intelligence and teaching cameras how to think and learn. Things like that are going to help us going forward, where if we do identify an individual, that image can be placed and inside that particular camera, law enforcement authorities might be able to see that person preemptively instead of reactively.
You're sort of stepping on this already, but so are there things that we have out there in technology that security can use right now to try to get to some of these individuals?
Absolutely no question. And you are going to see, Dana, as we move forward, and not the years ahead, in the weeks and the months ahead, municipalities across the United States and municipalities across the pond are going to start embracing certain types of artificial intelligence that they can use to help identify people like this, because clearly, and you and I both know, we just simply don't have the bodies to monitor the amount of people that we need to watch. I think we're going to have to switch the technology a little bit, too.
It is, as I'm hearing you say it, it's the idea of being safe, and then I start thinking about Big Brother, too. It's both of them combining into one.
It's an incredible balance, but we're going to have to try to find something there.
Paul Viollis with some great insight. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.